What you're seeing wasn't caused by bullets or explosives, just air. I've always been scared of air. I mean compressed air. Every time I feel a car tire, I'm kinda worried it could blow up in my face. And maybe that's a bit dramatic, but if it actually happened, how dangerous would it be? To find out, I'm gonna make a device that can unleash 130 times the pressure in a car tire in milliseconds, and point it at a bunch of different targets to answer one question: how dangerous is pressure? But first, why does compressed air even explode? And well, it turns out, to understand that, all you need is a balloon. When you fill a balloon with air, the pressure inside of it builds higher than the outside. And when the rubber can't contain the pressure anymore, it tears, letting the air rush out of it extremely fast. The interesting part though is that the pop you hear doesn't come from the rubber tearing, but from the air itself. When the air escapes the balloon, it expands quickly back to normal pressure, and this sudden push creates a shock wave that makes the air around it vibrate. And that vibration is what causes the bang. Now, the pressure that builds inside a balloon right before it pops is about 1.5 psi. I wanna make it 5,000. To get there, I basically need to make a bomb, pressure releasing device, and I thought about two possible designs for it. The first one is the balloon. I would have to make a balloon that's about 4,000 times stronger than a normal one, and keep filling it with a special pump until it pops and creates an insanely strong explosion with a shockwave going in all directions. There is a problem with this design though. I could only use it once. The second option is a paintball gun, which to the core basically looks like this: an air tank with pressurized air and a valve. When you open the valve, all the pressure in the tank gets released into the atmosphere. In this case, I could reach about 4,500 psi of pressure, which is what most air tanks are rated for, and the pressure blast would also flow away from me. Now all this sounds relatively simple, but there is a problem with this system as well, and that's the speed at which the valve opens. A ball valve, which is the only kind I could find rated for very high pressures, opens gradually and slowly, which means only a fraction of the pressurized air will actually hit the target, because by the time the valve is completely open and all the air leaves the tank, the target would be most likely already out of range. Then, after a while, I found this, a super high pressure solenoid valve. It activates very fast, it can handle more than 5,000 psi, and I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. But then, I found something else. Something better. This is an air banger. It kinda looks like a pistol and really looks like a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, but it's not. And I gotta clarify that for the secret agent that is about to knock on my door. It's not even classified as a weapon, because it doesn't fire anything. It doesn't have barrels, and it doesn't use gunpowder or explosive. It's basically just a very powerful air compressor. Its purpose is to create a loud explosive sound for training, alarms, or distress signals. Now, these two red tubes are air cartridges, and each one of them can hold up to 5,000 psi of compressed air. And again, that's about 130 times the pressure in a car tire. Each. Moreover, they release the pressure in milliseconds when you press the trigger, and you could even fire them both at the same time. So, if pressure could be dangerous at all, this is the right device to test that. Inside the box, you get the blaster, the two 5,000 psi cartridges, and these small discs called rupture discs, which are the key to understand how all the mechanism works. These metal cartridges are basically a tube. On the front, there is a sort of pin, and on the back, we insert a rupture disc this way. Now, when I fill the cartridge, the pressure can't escape, because the valve in the front stays closed, and the rupture disc is intact and blocks the exit. Then, after pressing the trigger, the hammers hit the back of the cartridge and break the rupture disc. And what happens next is pretty fascinating. Since the back of the cartridge is not sealed anymore, a little bit of pressure flows out of the back where the disc broke. This tiny pressure differential though is enough to create a negative pressure behind the front valve. There's basically nothing that pushes the front valve from the inside and keeps it closed. And so atmospheric pressure is now enough to push it and open the valve. So let's try it. To fill the cartridges up to 5,000 psi, you can't just use a normal compressor. Mine, for example, can only reach 120 psi. So to do that, you gotta have a PCP pump, with which it would take a while, or a PCB compressor. I have one, but I never used it. And it clearly says here this thing could explode if not used properly, but that shouldn't be the case because I've watched a YouTube tutorial. First, I gotta place a new rupture disc into the center of the cap, and then screw the cap back on. At this point, I can screw the fill adapter to the front of the cartridge, and then connect it to the compressor. Now that was easier than expected. It just took 50 seconds, and right now, the cartridge is loaded. The last step is arming the trigger hammer, like this, and set the safety toggle on. There is my granny in the other room, probably. I'm gonna tell her to go away. Single shot mode. I don't know what to expect. Like, no idea. What? What? So it definitely did something to the box. And the banger also has a lot of recoil, which I wasn't expecting. And by the way, that was single shot mode. Okay, I got another shot. Do I need to cock it back though? Yeah. Oh, there is a mosquito. There is a mosquito. No. Okay, let's try it here. Jeez. This is amazing. It's so fun. Also, if I pause the video here, you see the banger is literally shooting a stream of air. So it's gonna be very interesting to see that in ultra slow motion. Anyways, let's begin with the test. As usual, I've got a few different targets I'm gonna test the blaster on. And I'm gonna start with a smoke bomb. The reason for that is because I wanna see how the air behaves when you shoot the blaster. And the smoke should help us visualize the pressure blast, especially in ultra slow motion. After that, the classic watermelon and pumpkin, then a brand new iPhone 16, we're gonna get there in a minute. Then ballistic gelatin, a concrete block, and a ballistic dummy head. Alright then, let's start with the smoke. Also, for this test and all the next ones, I'm gonna shoot both cartridges at once. And even though the wind decided to censor my shot from the slow motion camera, I can tell the power of this thing in double shot mode. It's absolutely insane. Since I have 3 smoke bombs, I'm gonna use them all to try to get the best slow motion shot. This time I managed to get the shot, even though the light is not the best. And it turns out, the smoke is not that useful, because the stream of pressure is perfectly visible by itself. Did you see that? It is an actual stream of air. It's tight. It's like a laser. It's so cool. Now I have one last smoke bomb, so I'm gonna try one more time to give you a better angle with the slow motion camera. Alright, that's the shot I was looking for.